Hey there YouTube, it's Pliskin, back again. I'm here with a update that I've done to my M1A here just the other night. I have put on some new scope rings, and these scope rings are going to help solve our windage problem that we were having, because this Fulton Armory US M14 DMR scope mount is machined, CNC machined, to a low right angle. You can't really tell it on camera, but when you are shooting the gun, it's pretty obvious, as it was with us, where the scope mount angles. It angles the optic at this, down in this direction. And it's pretty obvious at 100 yards, because when we were shooting it, the scope and crosshairs would be like looking down right, and the bullets would be hitting high left. So the way we fixed that is we took a shim on the original scope rings, put a shim underneath where it clamped onto the pick rail. That brought it back left, and then we put a shim under the scope inside the ring, which we still have it. Then that brought it up, and that brought it level to where the bullets were hitting. But the problem with the scope rings that we had on it prior was that it did not offer enough right adjustment, because it canted them back to the left, but when we was shooting reloads and the SSA 168 grain bullets, they were hitting right, and we tried to bring the crosshairs and the scope over right, and we ran out of windage. So what these scope rings are going to do is solve that problem by allowing more windage, and we should be able to line up the crosshairs at the point of impact. So it would fix the problem of running out of windage, because we could refrain from using the turrets, the elevation and windage turrets, and just use the scope rings themselves to bring the scope where it needs to, and then use the windage in the turrets. So that is the update I've done with this. Crappy weather this week, according to the radar. So I'm going to be doing a lot of reloading. And for load 1, my reloads, load 1 being the 168 grain AMAX, I'm going to be using this Ultramax ammunition here. I'm going to be using the brass for it, because if you look at the brass, here I got one out, it is Lake City, or NATO, because it has the NATO cross in it. And I've already got the primer pocket cleaned up, and all I need to do is size them and then reload them. So I'm going to be using this and all the other ammunition like Federal and Hornaday for load 1. And then for load 2, which is my plinking round reload, which uses 150 grain Sierra Spitzer bullets, I'm going to be using brass from Perfecta. And I think I brought a box over here. No, I did not. I'm going to be using Perfecta brass and ZQI brass for load 2, because the brass is not that great, but decent enough. The problems we've had with, I think it was either ZQI or Perfecta, is that the primer pockets on some of the brass cases, or no, the flash holes on some of the cases are not in line with the primer pocket. I think it may be Perfecta that has that problem. I don't think ZQI is that big of a deal. I think these were easy to clean out and deburr and all that. but I'm going to be using the mass amounts of Perfecta ammo and ZQI ammo that I have gathered up from my outings and range trips and all that to load number 2, and then use the more quality brass for load number 1. And as you will see right over here, I have a lot of ZQI and Perfecta that I have shot up. And then I have some Remington, and that's 243. No, that's 308 Winchester. Okay. Well, I have a lot of quality brass, but a lot more cheapo brass from Perfecta and ZQI. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Reloading ammunition and stuff. I might make another reloading video. It depends. Also, I'm thinking of repainting my M1A's stock, because as you can see down here, the paint is slowly, well, not really slowly, it's gradually wearing off, and it's getting worse back here too. So I'm thinking I'm just going to repaint it, because I've been practicing on my camouflage patterns on broken airsoft guns that I still have lying around, because you know who's going to buy a broken airsoft gun. I'll roll in a picture of the recent pattern that I've done on one of the broke ones. Yeah, I found a decent, I finally found something they're good for. It's practicing camo patterns. And I'm hoping that when I perfect it and get it done all nice and everything, that it will look like this here. This is an old sleeve from an old BDU that I ripped off. I'm hoping the camo pattern will look like this when I'm done. And I also hope to, if I'm able to accumulate money, which I probably will be able to, I will be, I'm going to buy a national match spring guide. What that's supposed to do is it's supposed to help that spring bind kind of like consistently, because when that spring in there flexes in that action, it flexes a different way each time. And what the National Match Sadlac spring guide does is it just binds it up and it keeps it consistent. That's supposed to increase your accuracy. I also plan on shimming the gas system, binding up this cap up here so it doesn't wiggle like this anymore. Get it all nice and tight. I also need to get that multi-tool, take that piston out of the gas tube, clean that off, because I did the tilt test the other night and the gas piston no longer rides out of the gas tube under its own weight, and that indicates, according to the instructions that were issued with this gun that I got from Springfield, that if it is unable to tilt or come out of the gas tube under its own weight during the tilt test, that it needs to be cleaned, and I'm way overdue. But hey, I got to give the gun props for going as long as it has, not getting a full cleaning up here in the gas cylinder, gas tube, and it still rocks on and operates 100% reliably. I got to give it props for that. I may also get a brown slotted handguard to serve a dual purpose of to just add to the camo, because that black's kind of bland. If I got brown, it would kind of go with the new camo finish I'm going to put on it. And oops, and the slotted vents that would come in it might also help it cool off more after long strings of fire. But you never know, it might be another case of a custom job where I could take it off and just drill holes in it, like in these 3 slots up here. Drill holes on either side. I don't know. We'll see. Be another case of like what I did with the bipod mount, sling swivel mount. Anyway, this has been updates on my M1A. I do plan to have a lot more shooting videos this year as time allows and permits, and the weather and all that goodness. Got more places to go shoot and more friends to go shoot with as well. I hope it all goes according to plan, and I'll be making videos of it for all of you to watch and learn. Now anyway, that's been Pliskin by 51mm. I'll see you all in the next video.